You aren't them. What do you want to do? Man, imagine hearing that right when you thought you had it all figured out. Have you ever looked at someone super successful, maybe a boss, a mentor, or even someone you follow online, and just thought, I want to be exactly like them? You start studying their habits, copying their traits, trying to mirror their career path, basically hoping that if you just follow their blueprint, you'll finally feel secure. But then, a simple question like this hits you and shatters the whole illusion. It really forces you to realize that imitating someone else's success, well, it doesn't actually answer who you are. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are bringing some serious energy to a topic that, let's be honest, almost all of us wrestle with at some point. We're unpacking a complete step-by-step guide to navigating a career identity crisis. And we're drawing this directly from the real-life coaching frameworks of Dr. Shen. We're going to see exactly how a master coach takes someone from a really messy, anxious personal crisis all the way to a clear, highly actionable life blueprint. All right, so here is our roadmap for today. 1. The identity crisis. 2. Diagnosis, imitating versus being. 3. Step 1, the 4-dimension self. 4. Step 2, the personal SWOT. 5. Shifting your mindset. And finally, number 6, building a life blueprint. Let's jump right in. Section 1, the identity crisis. So meet Joe. He's a 24-year-old photographer, and recently he took this trip to a big city with his boss. While he was there, Joe was introduced to several really high-profile, highly successful professionals. But instead of just feeling inspired by them, Joe got hit with this overwhelming, almost anxious desire to become exactly like them. Seriously, every time he met someone impressive, his immediate thought was, wow, I want to be you. What exact traits do you have that I can copy? Take a look at Joe's surface struggles here. He's envious, and he really lacks a stable goal of his own. He's also super worried about his future as a photographer, like literally worrying about whether he'll have the physical stamina to keep shooting as he gets older. He just desperately wants a path that gives him both certainty and passion. But what's really happening here is that Joe is pulling outward. He's grasping at the external world, trying to find his identity, simply because he completely lacks his own internal coordinates. Section 2, diagnosis, imitating versus being. So Dr. Shen steps in, and there is this stark contrast between what Joe thinks his problem is and what he actually needs. On the surface, Joe thinks his problem is just about his job, right? He's worrying about physical stamina and wishing he had the traits of these other successful people. But look at the deep needs. What Joe is actually craving is inner direction. His core desire is to separate his self-worth from his job title. He doesn't want to just be defined by what he does for a paycheck. He wants to know who he actually is outside of that label. And here's a crucial point Dr. Shen makes. A quarter-life crisis at 24, that is not a personal defect. It's practically a scheduled rite of passage. Joe isn't failing at life. He's just in the messy, completely normal process of identity formation. And figuring out who you really are requires stepping away from just imitating others to survive.
Okay, let's look at the exact 4-step coaching technique Dr. Shen uses to pull Joe out of this imitation trap and into his true self. It's a really clean, structured process. First, clarify the goal. Second, reflect the hard truth back to the person. Third, facilitate a mindset shift. And fourth, build a concrete action plan. We're going to focus heavily on the specific tools used in those action steps.
Section 3, Step 1, the 4-dimension self. You know, when you feel lost, asking who am I is just way too broad. It's totally paralyzing. So Dr. Shen breaks the self down into 4 manageable dimensions: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. It's a simple framework, but it is incredibly powerful. Instead of trying to define your entire existence all at once, you systematically unpack your true identity. You look at your physical realities, like Joe's very real worries about his stamina, then your emotional responses, your mental capacities, and finally, your spiritual or philosophical foundation. The whole goal of looking at these 4 dimensions is to uncover your true identity. And Dr. Shen defines this as who you are when you strip away absolutely every job title, every career achievement, and every external label. I mean, imagine looking in the mirror right now. If you lost your job title today, if all your professional achievements just vanished, who are you at your core? If you can't answer that, then just like Joe, you're anchoring your identity to something super fragile. Section 4, Step 2, the personal SWOT. Now, you might be familiar with a SWOT analysis from some boring corporate retreat, but Dr. Shen applies this classic business tool directly to personal value. It is such a great objective way to map out what we bring to the table entirely outside of our job descriptions. By documenting your internal strengths, like maybe you're highly adaptable and creatively driven, like Joe, and your internal weaknesses, alongside external opportunities and threats, you basically stop guessing about your value. You're creating a concrete inventory of your personal assets that literally no one can take away from you, regardless of what industry you work in. Section 5, Shifting Your Mindset. This right here captures the absolute essence of Dr. Shen's coaching. Just look at the transition. Joe's old mindset was anxious. He was constantly seeking outward validation and trying to imitate others just to feel like he was surviving. The new mindset completely flips the script. Instead of feeling behind, he realizes, hey, I'm young and exploring. Instead of reaching outward, he starts rooting his identity inward. He transitions from imitating someone else to doing the much harder but way more rewarding work of becoming himself. A massive part of this mental pivot relies on what Dr. Shen calls core value extraction. You've got to discover an anchor. For Joe, that anchor was the concept of growth. Now, a true core value is something you are willing to invest your time, your money, and your actual life into. Once you identify a core value like growth, everything changes. Your temporary confusion or lack of a specific job title just becomes a stepping stone. You aren't lost anymore. You're just in a phase of growth.
Section 6, Building a Life Blueprint.
Before we dive into the mechanics of that blueprint, I want you to consider Dr. Shen's ultimate 3 questions. Who am I? Where do I come from? Where am I going? Take a second and just let the gravity of those sink in. These aren't just late-night philosophical musings. They are the actual bedrock of an unshakable identity. Because if you can't answer where you are going, every shiny new career path someone else is on is going to easily distract you. To answer those massive questions, Dr. Shen uses the 5W methodology: who, what, when, where, and why. First, you define your core self, the who. Then, you clarify the specific actions you need to take, the what. Next, you establish long-term timelines, like a 20-year goal, that's your when. After that, you position yourself in the right environment, the where. And finally, you uncover your ultimate life mission, the why. Using this systematic blueprint gives you a truly concrete path forward. It's designed to help you build an existence with 0 regrets, totally customized to your unique identity, not just a copy of someone else's. I want to leave you with this thought. External identities collapse, but an eternal identity brings peace. Job titles change, industries get disrupted by technology, and the people we envy today, they might stumble tomorrow. If your identity is tied up in those external things, you are always going to be anxious. But if you do the work, if you define your internal dimensions, map your personal value, and build a life blueprint based on your core self, you'll find true stability. So I'll ask you again, if you strip away all your labels today, who are you?